Hello and welcome to the Pro Detailer podcast. We are still in Germany. We are still in Frankfurt. In fact, we are still at Automechanika in the biggest recording studio.
Cavernous hall.
It's bonkers. It is bonkers. But the good news is, first of all, Ian's figured out some clever buttons and bobs, so hopefully there's a little bit less background noise than our last interview.
We'll find out when we come to edit this.
That's very
And
true.
you can't hear any of us instead. We have to come back here and record it all over again. It's going to be awkward.
It's going to be very complicated, isn't it? But the better news is that we have yet another detailing celebrity guest in the form of Dr. Andreas Neuner.
Hello, everybody.
How are you today?
Fine, thanks.
So, a little bit of background. We find Andreas has actually been in the magazine before.
Yes, we're wearing a scary gas mask and staring at the camera.
Yes.
Which I think is a strong look, speaking as a man who doesn't have a strong look myself. But no, I'm liking it. I think I'm going to try that down the supermarket soon.
I think it's my my profile pictures on Facebook and all social media, so that...
Brings in all the girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. For those who don't know, Andreas is the chemist, the brains behind. I don't want to say the brains, really. He's behind Nanolex.
Yeah.
Florian's kind of the beauty, and you're the brains.
I'm the beast.
You're the beast.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, you get a castle at least.
Yeah. So everyone knows Nanolex. Nanolex are kind of ceramic experts. We have been over to Saarbrücken in a previous Euro tour, and we've interviewed Florian himself, and we've worked very closely in the past. It's been a lovely relationship. And what I wanted to do is basically get the chemist, the real chemist, and known to be a zero BS chemist as well.
Well, actually, I'm not even a chemist.
Oh, okay. Well, you're a doctor of something, though, because it says so.
It is, but it's not chemistry.
Oh.
So I studied human and molecular biology,
Okay.
and then I did my PhD in genetic engineering.
Ah.
Yeah. So this was my
That's your
field of
background.
expertise, yes.
Well, let's crack straight on, because I believe it's quite an entertaining story about how you and Florian first met. And I presumed just eyes fluttered across a bar, and then suddenly Nanolex Si3D was born. But I think it's
more
more
or
to it.
less, yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I knew him through some friends, so to say. So when I saw him in the city, I dropped by and said hi, but we had nothing to do with each other, like on any other level. So at some point, I declined a job for Nestle, and people from the university said, "Okay, you did so well in your field. Now you fucked up. What you gonna do?" I said, "I don't know. I'll find something." So they offered me a position to teach at the university. So I was a junior professor for genetic engineering at Saarbrücken at the university. But at some point, there were issues with money and so on, and I just told them, "Okay, please just don't prolong my contract. I'm going to do something on my own." And then I wanted to start something like a holistic medicine healing approach, something like that. And it was boring. I can only learn for like 1, 2, maybe 3 hours a day. And after that, I just get bored. So
what sort of thing? I mean, holistic stuff, I immediately think of lighting a joss stick and
yeah, something like that. Some
and
voodoo stuff,
having a bit of like lavender
Waving the
oil.
crystals above your
yeah,
head.
exactly.
And then you have to put certain things up in certain places. And
That's the crystals
Yeah.
again.
that's the crystals. Yeah, they really
Exactly.
sting.
Yeah. So I knew Florian had the company already, and I just asked him, "Okay, do you have a job for me? Because it's boring. I'm learning for this stuff, but with the rest of the day, I don't know what to do, so I need to get busy." And in the beginning, I was just cleaning, bottling, labeling, just doing stuff.
General stuff.
Yeah. And one day I came to work, and the shampoo that was clear the previous day was cloudy now. And he was upset and whatever. I said, "What happened? I have no idea, man. I don't even clean my car. My car was a mess. So I still don't clean my car." But then he said, yeah, you had like something with chemistry in school, right? I said, "Yeah, in school, yeah. A long time ago." But then, I mean, it was interesting for me too, because I saw the shampoo the day before and it was clear, and now it was cloudy and
so something had
whatever.
happened,
What the fuck happened? But since I didn't know much about cleaning chemistry, I was just like, okay, what's the next best thing to do? Just I was thinking about what's different yesterday and today, and I realized it got cold overnight.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, maybe it's a temperature issue. I took a bottle, I put it under water, warm water, warmed up, and it was clear again. I showed it, hey, look, man.
I'm the chemist
you're
now.
a genius, man. You know about car care. I said, no, actually I don't. I just put it under warm water. And then he said, yeah, but you figure it out so quick. Aren't you interested in like thinking more about car care products? And then I thought, okay, cleaning or thinking about products? I said, you pay me the same. I'd rather sit on a computer and think about products. And then I started looking up the internet for information about car care products, how they are formulated and whatsoever.
And so what sort of year is this, just to put this in perspective?
This was like 2012 or 13,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah. And I found out this fucking secret, like Coca-Cola recipe. Nobody tells you what to do. If they do, it's like more misleading information. And then I figured out, okay, it's a lot of cars in the world, a lot of car crazy people, so it could be interesting. And then, I don't know, I was hooked. I started going nuts, and all day I was just looking about how is this going, how is this functioning, what can I do here, what can I do there. And after like, I don't know, maybe 1 month of getting information and just sitting there and doing nothing, I told him, okay, man, tell me what product would you like to have? And he said, a quick detailer. So I made final finish. And he had a rough idea about how to make it. And it was a done deal in a couple of days. And
wow, you developed final finish in a couple of days?
In 2 days.
In 2 days.
Yes.
And that product still is on the market. How similar is it to what you originally developed?
The same.
Exactly the same?
Yeah, now we're going to put out a new version, but for the last, I don't know, 6 years it was the same. Yeah. And then we looked at other companies, how many products do they put out a year, something like that. It's like 2, 3, 4. And I think in the first year when I started formulating it was like over 20. I went nuts. Yeah.
So you say you don't do your own car care or anything like that. How does your testing process? How does that go? Do you send it out to
Florian.
people? Just Florian.
Yeah, in the beginning
Florian's
it
a
was
bit
just
start and the end.
Yeah, I mean we spent, I don't know, I think out of how many weekends do we have in a year? 57? 52. Okay, I think 40 weekends we were in there testing.
Wow.
From 10 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night.
Blimey.
Yeah.
And so when you're developing products, obviously Nanolex has got the ceramic thing, but what do you most enjoy? What's your favorite product? What are you most satisfied with?
Polishes.
Interesting. Abrasives.
Yeah.
I've always been told that abrasives are about the hardest thing to manufacture because...
It was for me too.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So even harder than ceramic coating products?
The first ceramic coating, I made it, it was in a cooking pot with a spoon.
Wow.
So no mixing device, no nothing. And it worked really good. Now it's a lot more sophisticated because,
And that pot's still clean to this day.
Yeah, and I still have the first bottle ever that I made. I still have it, and I open it once every 6 months or so, and it's still okay. It's still working.
Wow.
It's like, it was 2014, I think.
Blimey. Yeah. So your compounds, because I have to remember, I haven't used Nanolex compounds, but I think you have it?
Yes, medium cut especially.
Yeah.
Love that.
And is that a diminishing polish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So if compounds, etc., are the hardest, are they just the hardest thing to manufacture, or are they the hardest thing to develop to invent?
Yeah, I had a problem with the polishes and with the abrasive compounds is they have to work on every clear coat with every kind of machine, with a lot of different styles of polishing, a lot of different pads. So it's
what
very
are the variables then? Is it different types of abrasive, different types of lubricant?
Yeah, I mean if we start that, we need a couple of hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean the first thing is it's water-based, solvent-based, or a mix in between. Then what kind of abrasive are you using? Calcinated aluminum oxide or non-calcinated or whatsoever. And this also depends on how you're going to use them later. For example, if you want like a good polish for boats, for clear coat, for gel coat, sorry, you don't necessarily need calcinated aluminum oxide, which is very expensive. So the non-calcinated is like 10 times cheaper and works perfectly on boats, but it won't work on that good on nuclear car clear coats because they're too hard.
In brief, what is the calcinating process, if you like?
So aluminum oxide is never 100% pure. Non-calcinated is like contains up to 20% impurities. So it's softer because of the impurities, because the crystal structure is different. So if you calcinate it, you get rid of all the impurities. So you have like 98, 99% pure aluminum oxide in a special, let's say,
Structure.
Yeah.
So aluminum oxide, so that's chemical formula AuO, I guess.
Al2O3.
Al2O3.
O3.
So 3 oxygen molecules for every aluminium.
For two.
For 2.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And it's that structure that gives it its sort of physical surface.
It creates like a sort of a gitter, like,
like a lattice. I guess.
Yeah. And that's hard. Yeah.
So you've got that abrasive. So what's the next? And you've decided whether you're going to be solvent or water-based or a bit in between. Because we've seen this with some products out there saying, oh, it's solvent. Well, they say it's water-based and then assume that it's solvent-free. But actually, from what we can see, is
if it's water-based, it doesn't necessarily mean it's solvent-free, but it's low VOC.
Right.
So solvents for me is volatile organic
compounds.
Yeah. So I would say if a good polish has like around 10% VOC, for me it's water-based.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, so we've got that. We've got the aluminium oxide abrasives. What's the next step in the manufacture of a compound?
I mean, you need to think about what you expect from the polish. Let's say if it's a heavy cut, you need a certain size, and it breaks down. But it's not breaking down like constantly breaking down. It breaks down in steps. So all the steps can be defined by the manufacturer of the aluminum oxide. So you say, okay, I start with this size, and the next step it breaks down is this size, and the third one, they all break down in 3
as
steps.
part of the diminishing process.
Yeah, exactly.
So they literally are saying, right, there are these bonds. This one is the strongest. This is second strongest. And then in reverse order is what they break down to.
Yeah.
So what affects that? Is that just time? Is that heat? Is that pressure?
No, most of the breakdown process by rubbing against each other. Friction against the clear coat and against each other. And in the beginning you have like chunks. You don't have like single aluminum oxide pieces. So you have pieces sticking together like a conglomerate. And that has a cut in itself because it's very big, kind of strong. And this is why you start slow. When you start slow,
and
you cut more than if you go high speed, because then they break down faster.
Quicker. Yeah. That's
so when you formulate a polish, then you think about, okay, what's my starting size, what's the finishing size from powder 1. But then you can combine powders to have like intermediate particles, and
steps.
so and that's the point when you think about, okay, a high cut or high finish or whatever. If you want a high finish, like the last step where it breaks down needs to be very, very small.
So is there what seems to be the development? Let's just throw some things out there. Kocham EH8 was pretty revolutionary in that it allowed people to do one-stage polishes that were, or one-stage kind of machine polishing that enabled you to get rid of pretty deep stuff. It was a pretty strong cut, and it refined down to pretty good. Now there are more abrasive cuts at the top end, and there are finer cuts at the bottom end. But that was a revolutionary thing. Now ever since then, the other products that have come out since and tried to beat it, some have, some haven't. They say, right, well, it can cut more and it can refine better. So there's a kind of you're increasing both ends of the spectrum. Is there a reason why we haven't got something that can cut like sandpaper at one end and refine like milk at the other end, or is there a technical limitation on that?
It is to some point, and I think it would not necessarily be wise to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the initial cut would be too hard. Oh, money reasons.
You want to live off something. If it's just one product does everything,
you'd have to sell a lot of that product to make up.
Yeah.
So that's fascinating. So we think it's commercial reasons why we've got it.
Yeah, for a lot of products,
it's
pure
money.
commercial reasons, yes.
Fascinating, because we had so I was contacted a couple of years ago now by a big compound manufacturer in the UK. They're not in our little detailing circle. They're body shop, and they were, we've just done this amazing thing. You can now polish a car in not 4, not 3, but 2 stages. And their previous system was a 3-stage, and they were so excited about it.
Yeah.
And I had to very gently say, look, honey bunny, I'm afraid this has kind of been happening for quite a long time. And they weren't very happy when I pointed out that actually we've been doing this for years.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've got the abrasive, we've got the solvent, we've got all the rest of it. What else?
What else you have? You have like a thickening agent.
So a emulsifier of some form?
No. It's like most people use some kinds of sugar.
Interesting.
Plant-based sugar. You know, that takes up a lot of water and yeah. So if you don't have that, your abrasives will go to the bottom.
So that's
a rheology modificator. Let's call it like that.
Gotcha.
You know? So okay. And otherwise, if the polish is too watery or not thick enough, it will splatter.
Yeah.
Turn around. You don't want that. That's also one component. Then you have most of the time some kind of glycerine, mineral oils whatsoever to have a long working time, so the polishing film is not drying out.
Yeah.
What else do you have? An emulsifying agent, because if you have like a watery part and solvent part, or the mineral oils, they need to be emulsified. Yeah, otherwise it will separate.
Is there some reason you choose, say, a mineral oil over glycerine or something to as you
yes, but if I give this away,
it's trade
I'm
secret
gonna
stuff.
have issues when I come back to the booth.
I mean, you can always give away missing.
It's a lot of it's there's so many things that I would like to say, and I say this now here. I think when I'm done with this industry, I will write a book
and
about all the bullshit.
I'll buy that book and do the audio
because it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's going to be
so much easier and nicer than it is now, but a lot of people will be out of business and not making any money.
It is. It's an interesting old market that's going on, and it's at all levels of it. So, with the compounds, do you think, by the sounds of it, there's a lot more development space to go, or have we pretty much there is?
Yeah,
and
there always is.
Is that stuff that we already know, but we
Sorry
don't
for
tell
interrupting,
them?
but they develop the clear cuts all the time, so
you have to keep up with
it's
that.
Just like
yeah, I can imagine,
and keep it compatible with everything that's gone before as well.
Yeah,
backwards.
Just going back to kind of a bit back to the start of this, where we were saying you were choosing between water-based and solvent-based. If it wasn't for eco reasons, say, or your VOC reasons, is solvent-based still basically the king?
No,
you always prefer to do water-based now.
This is just a personal opinion. This is my opinion. I think a mix of solvents and water is the best because solvents evaporate a lot quicker than water, and then it will dry out. You have some advantages and so on, but water gives you, like, if you know how to use it and how to formulate it in a polish, you will never find a solvent that's as cheap as water, and that enables you such a long working time. But you need to combine it with the mineral oils and something like that also you need some lubrication and so on. Yeah.
And what about low dusting?
Yeah.
Ways to keep the dust levels down. Am I asking another question you can't?
Yeah, I mean, I know so many.
I'm being very nosy. Sorry.
No, don't worry. You just add a little bit of glycerine, and
that kind of collects it in. Yeah,
like 1% or whatever.
So, with say compounds that used to dust and compounds that didn't have the big range and stuff, are people just producing that because it's cheap or because they didn't know any better?
I think it's both.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool. So should we?
The problem is, like, also when you buy all these raw ingredients for a polish, usually all the manufacturers keep you information with it to help you formulate a product, and you're going to buy more.
I guess there's only so many places in the world you can buy it from as well.
Yeah, but the strange thing is, in case of polishes, they give you wrong information. It's like nobody wants you to be able to put out a good polish, and this was mind-boggling for me. I couldn't understand it. I'm not such kind of person. I think if you don't let anything out, nothing will come in.
Yeah.
So I'm all about sharing. I don't know,
Yeah.
And you need competition in order to
Yeah, I
develop
mean,
new
yeah,
things.
Life is boring if you're not pushed.
In my opinion, this world is a place of abundance, not of scarcity. So this is how I
That-
do stuff.
That works out. No,
Yeah.
that's very cool. Ian, have you got any other based on compounds?
I've got a lot of other questions, but all of them I'm now going through mode and think no, probably no. Don't think we
You
can.
get me in
probably
trouble,
gonna answer that. We'll ask you these afterwards,
Okay.
and maybe we can
No
contribute
problem.
on it.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk about ceramic coatings.
Yes.
So tell us about I'm guessing the first ceramic coating you made was SI3D or became SI3D.
Yes.
Tell us about that trip, that journey.
The journey. It was funny. It was.
Can we get any more detail?
Yeah. Dennis and Johan from Car Clean
Yeah.
dropped by to say hi, and I just started working there. I think I was there for like 2 or 3 months or something like that. I had like final finish and the shampoo, and I was happy to show it to them, and we tested it. We tried it. It's nice. And then I think it was Johan who asked me, "Hey, you know ceramic coatings?" I said, "What that?" I looked at Florian and said, yeah. And I said, I never heard about it, show me. And yeah, come out and show it on our car. And I went outside and he said, look, this panel is treated with ceramic coating, the rest is not. And I said, yeah, I see no difference. And it looks the same for me. Because I never cleaned a car, I didn't have the eye for that.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, look, it's water repellent. They put water on it and it just fell down and all the crazy stuff they do with ceramic coatings. And I said, okay. And they tell me, if you can do this, that's really interesting. And I started looking into that, and I think 1 month later, SI3D was there, and I called them and said, hey, everyone, come and test it. Yeah.
That's cool because I think
And we sent it to Bert, who wax it.
different bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. And he tried it, and it was sticky, The first version was very sticky, but if you knew how to apply it, it was very nice. A little bit like Modesta style, Those are like pain in the ass to apply, but if you know how to apply them, it's like a bomb ass coat. Yeah. So this is how it started, and then for me, it's always, I don't like complicating stuff. It's must be straightforward. The easier, the better.
In fairness, SI3D, yes, there are other things, other coatings available from Nanolex, but SI3D has stuck around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
There's no point
But
changing
now
this
the
account.
newer versions are a lot easier to apply.
Yeah, because now it's on your SI3D Max now.
Yeah, now the terabyte and...
Well, we're going to talk about carbide in part 2.
But this is how it started. So when
Yeah.
it started, it was all sticky and whatever, and they told me, it has to be a bit slicker and a bit easier to apply, and people are going to...
So what's interesting also, it wasn't long ago when we were just pointing out, became clear that so many ceramic coatings, or at least the key ingredients in ceramic coatings, were made in the Far East, and that very few were made in Europe. And I believe Nanolex was one of the only companies in Western Europe that was actually making ceramic coatings at the time.
I think so, yeah.
They had
Everything
the
else
right
was coming
saucepan.
Yeah, exactly.
The right spoon.
Yeah.
But I remember talking to Florian, who was saying how the original application of ceramic coatings was sort of coating glass in a factory making shower glass or something like that. There was some sort of connection there.
Yeah.
Were you involved at that point?
No.
Or was that was a
No.
previous
This was
life?
his magic.
Well, what I think we should do now is take a little pause, and when we come back, we will be talking about the latest product from Nanolex, and we're also going to be pushing you through our 10 quick fire questions, which, FYI, never very quick.
See you in a bit.
I hope you've been enjoying the Pro Detailer Magazine podcast. I just wanted to take a minute to say a huge thank you. Thank you to all of those who bought the hand wash only hardback book, all 144 pages of it. We printed 3,000 initially, didn't expect it to sell in such numbers, but lo and behold, it has, and that's all thanks to you guys. Good news is we are doing another print run, so if you don't yet have your copy, or perhaps you're thinking of gifting it to people for Christmas maybe, the place to go is prodetailermagazine.com, and you will be able to order/pre-order your copy now. Anyway, thanks again, and now it is back to the podcast. And we're back, and we're with Andreas Neuner, and we were next going to look at a little bit of myth busting in the realms of ceramic coating. So let's kick us off for 5. I'll steal this one.
Okay, layering ceramic coatings. Talk to us about that, because there are companies out there who say the more layers you put onto a paint surface, the better the protection comes.
And some of them are saying the thicknesses. I've seen one
Mils? Yeah.
Well, not mils.
Mils.
Not millimeters. Sorry, mils. But yeah, we're talking 20 to 50 microns. I've heard people have been added by ceramic coating. So is this even a thing? Is it possible? Is it beneficial?
It is possible, but I don't think they do it that way. If you are able to apply a ceramic coating wet on dry, so you put the first layer, you leave it for an hour, you cure it, and you apply the next one, then you can stack it, then you can layer. But if that's not possible, because most hydrophobic coatings, they repel it even themselves.
Yeah.
Yes. So what you can do then is apply the second layer within like 10 to 15 minutes after the first one. But with the second one, you're basically going to dissolve more or less the first one. So let's say the first one gives you 2 microns. And you think with the second one, I'm going to have 4. No, with the second one, you're going to remove 1.5 from the first one and add a little bit to it. And every time you do that, the risk of making a mistake or whatever is increasing. And imagine after you applied 4 or 5 layers and you notice there's a mistake and you have to polish it all off. It's just bonkers.
Just to qualify it, this is for stacking the same coating on top of each other. So the coatings come with a base and a top coat. They're designed to work with each other.
The base coat you can layer.
Yeah.
Even ours, the base coat, I recommend it. If people are crazy with layering, you can. But in my opinion, personal opinion is, if you put out a coating and 1 layer is not enough, go back to school
And get
or whatever.
a coating.
You know.
And so when a coating does this, one thing I've always assumed that the way a coating wears out is it just gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it's gone.
Yep.
And that is like
true.
layers of an onion coming off.
Yep.
It's not like it suddenly ages and that's the end of it. No.
It's like constant erosion.
Gotcha.
And sometimes it's etching if you use like harsh chemicals for washing or whatever, you know, it just etches away. They are sensitive to high alkaline or acidic pHs.
Well, this is my next question. We'll tag team this one perhaps. I have a ceramic coated car, and it is coated with chemist, which I presume you're probably quite familiar with. And it being a German manufacturer.
Yeah, sure.
And when I washed it normally, the beading didn't come back and I was really disappointed. Then I used some Labo Cosmetica. Was it Energo I used? What was it? What's their...
Not Veritas.
Veritas. No. Their shampoo.
Oh, Purifica.
Purifica.
So you need to actually give me a context for it. You use Labo Cosmetica. I'm going to go through the entire Labo Cosmetica catalog. This could take a long time.
So Purifica shampoo.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, it came right back again. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, I've always believed that is, we live in a hard water area, and I believe that it was the salts and stuff in the water that gave it the high pH, etc., that effectively clog the surface and reduce the hydrophobicity, and that a slightly acidic shampoo breaks those down and then basically reactivates or declogs that.
Yes, but in this case, it's not the high pH that you have in your water. It's just like the hardness of the water.
The dissolved solids.
No. The harder the water is, the more mineral deposits you'll have when the water evaporates. And that will basically leave like a tiny, tiny small layer over your coating. So the hydrophobic groups, it's, I think in case of Koch's coating, it's like methyl groups that are hydrophobic. And you just clog them. So if you take something slightly acidic, it's like a water spot remover, a soft one. It just gets rid of those deposits and then the methyl groups are active again or free, and you have hydrophobicity back.
Because I do see this quite a lot with people who've saying, "Oh, my coating's failed," and they'll show you a little video of like a hose pipe over the water, going, and it's not doing what they want it to do. And you sit there going, "I don't think it's failed. I just think you failed to wash your car properly." You can't tell them that. You have to be nice.
It happens a lot of times.
Yeah. No, that's it. Is there anything else that clogs up coatings that you can rectify? Because obviously, hitting a tree is going to...
Yeah, tree sap, pollen whatsoever,
And
all kind of contaminations.
And so you would just remove those in a conventional way? Yeah, obviously without abrasion.
Yeah, and it's easier to remove them. That's true in case of coatings. I mean, it has this easy to clean effect. Even though people claim it with the lotus leaves and stuff like that, this is like bullshit. This is science fiction. Because in case of the lotus flower and, the high contact angle, this is not lacquer. I mean, they have like tiny little hairs and the micro topology on top of the leaf, and when the water droplets run down, they take away dust and something like that. It works for the plant, but it's not working for the car.
You mean do you mean the ceramic coating I have isn't compressed lotus leaf that's been milled in there?
Yes, some kind of, but not really. So, but if you would really think about ceramic coatings from a perspective of keeping the car clean, you will need them hydrophilic, not hydrophobic. Because then you would have like a very thin water layer all over your car, dissolving the dirt and running down with very nice sheeting. That takes the dirt away. If it's just hydrophobic, you have like hundreds of stripes.
Yes.
This leads me nicely on to my next one, which is true or false. Hydrophilic coatings, so as say sheeting coatings, are stronger than hydrophobic coatings. True or false?
True.
Why don't we have hydrophilic coatings? Is it just because people like the beading?
And the second reason is because there are no existing raw materials at the moment that enable a very good one. So for me, a good and acceptable hydrophilic coating, we have a contact angle of maximum 15 degrees, rather between 5 and 10. With the current situation, to have a stable one, hydrophilic, not just like 2 weeks and then it's gone, you're between 20 and 30 degrees, and that's not doing it. It looks like extremely shitty hydrophobic coating. So,
well, one thing I talked to a manufacturer of marine coatings as well. He does cars, but marine coatings. And he said that their one is hydrophilic because it goes on the hull of boats. And the problem you've got is a boat sitting in a waterline. It just basically marks along the waterline. And so that's why he's got a hydrophilic. Now, I imagine on the bottom of a boat, the contact angle is less important.
Yeah, exactly.
But how resistant can they be to salt water? Because I imagine salt water is going to be horrible. I mean, that's why you have to anti-foul boats every couple of years.
Yeah, but not really, because the hydrophilic coatings, they generate an amorphous surface. You have no pores. It's like glass, actually. So it cannot be penetrated by everything. So even salt is corroding them, but since they are under the water, you don't have that problem.
You don't have oxygen.
It's just above the water. When it's constantly like getting wet and drying and salt and sun and whatsoever, if sun is shining on some salty crust, you have light scattering, UV is detrimental and so on. But underwater, you don't have it. Most of the time, it's dark. So no UV.
Well, in the Mediterranean, you've just got killer whales coming up now, knocking rudders off boats. Yeah, that's pretty serious. What's your next one, Aaron?
Okay, you've got a crystal clear coat and a ceramic coating. Which is clearer, which has more clarity, ceramic coating or a clear coat? And I asked this because it kind of follows on to, if you were to perfectly polish up a clear coated finish, would adding on a ceramic coating technically reduce the gloss, or would it still enhance it?
I would say it would still enhance it.
It would enhance it.
Yeah. And you also have this color deepening effect that you would not necessarily have if you add more clear coat on top.
You'd have a darkening effect to darker colors, effectively.
Yeah.
So that's where you're going to get a lot of the effect from. Okay.
Yeah. And the colors look more brilliant and whatsoever. But from the clarity, I would say ceramic coat is a little bit more clear than.
So every time you see these sort of ceramic chips and everything that companies put out, the ones that aren't just bits of plastic that they're telling you is ceramic, because that happens quite a lot.
It's extremely hard to harden a ceramic coating to have like a chunk. Even if you have, let's say you take a glass and make it half full and just let it evaporate, it will look like crystal meth.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So.
Ian, what does crystal? Sorry, Ian's from Essex, so he'll know what crystal meth looks like.
Blue.
Oh, okay.
I've also seen Breaking Bad.
Blue is the one from the movie, but actually it's clear, but it looks
the perfect one's clear. But you have to have an RV for that, apparently.
Okay. So it looks very weird when you let it crystallize, you know. So
well, we did a photo shoot with crystalline stuff, and that was, I can't remember how.
I think we did. I tried this experiment actually with a couple of the sort of silicon baking molds and pouring different ones in there, and
exactly.
one in particular, I think it was angel wax, actually puffed up, and he said to me,
all
"It's higher solid
puff
stuff."
up a little bit, you know. This is why. Sometimes you apply the coating, you look at the car, some people take pictures, and no, don't take them now, take them tomorrow.
Yeah.
When you come in the next morning, it's glossier. It kind of, you know, it develops this 3D matrix, so to say, which is a polymer. It's not glowing only in length, also in height, you know, and it's taking oxygen, humidity from the atmosphere. Then the first reaction is like hydrolysis.
Yeah.
We cleave off a side, so it's active, and the next one is a condensation reaction where you get the monomer, and then the monomers stick together to create a polymer, and the polymer start creating this 3D matrix. So this is why it's getting thicker overnight.
So it swells effectively.
Yeah.
So perhaps final one is final for me. Now there are so many coatings out there. So right, this is a 1-year coating, this is a 3 to 5 year coating, and then there's a couple out there that are claiming 8+ years and stuff like that.
But if you look at the claim, it's like it's lasting for 8 years, but if you turn the page, it says you have to apply it every 6 months. So
It's like a
thank
wax.
you, sir. Yeah.
So what I was kind of asking is, why, given that the biggest kind of cost with the ceramic coating is the application of it and the prep and stuff like that, why in God's name do people do a 2-year coating if they can do a 5-year coating? What is there a big chemical difference, cost difference between that, or is it purely marketing to be able to give a spectrum of prices?
Actually, I don't know.
Okay.
So I would guess if you make if you manufacture or produce a coating that's lasting for 5 years, I don't think the coating will be so good and so hard that in those 5 years it won't have any defects or whatsoever. So I think if you redo them every 2 or 3 years, you can have more of this flawless appearance of the car. It's very hard to maintain a coating flawless for 5 years, even if it sticks there. Because even these coatings, if you treat the car right, and if you really take care of it, and if it's applied properly, they will last for 5 years or more.
Yeah.
The problem is just, car is something to use. I mistreat my car. I'm not a good designer. I know people who treat their car nicer than I treat girls. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you polish and ceramic up a Ferrari and then put it into sealed hermetic storage, then it's going to last forever.
Yeah, sure.
It's a very good coating.
Exactly.
It's a lifetime coating. You'll come back to this sort of crystalline ceramic outline of a Ferrari and just a load of rust.
Yeah. But I have
Maybe not so much anymore. But
you were talking about myths and stuff like that with ceramics. Something came in my mind. A lot of people, they apply ceramics and then they look the next day or a couple of hours later at the applicator cloth, if it got stiff or hard, or if it's soft. And they say if it's soft, the coating is not good or it's not hard. This is completely wrong, because ceramic coatings have 2 main ingredients. The organic one is called organopolysiloxane, and the anorganic one is called perhydropolysiloxane. The perhydropolysiloxane, it's very dense coating. It has no pores. It creates an amorphous surface, really like glass. It contains no carbon, which is a big atom.
Right.
It's extremely dense and thick.
Is that what they call the dissolved solid element?
Yes. But if you apply that coating, the applicator cloth is very soft. It's like nothing. if you take the organopolysiloxanes, it's going to be very hard, but those are soft as a coating.
So you've got something that's hard that cures soft, and then something that's soft that
it's
cures
just
hard.
the other way around.
Yeah.
But you cannot say if you apply a coating and the applicator cloth stays soft, it doesn't necessarily mean that the coating is.
It's not good.
But if you have like a stiff cloth after application, that doesn't mean that the coating is hard too.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Does that relate at all to high and low solids in general? Or?
I think part of it, and it's also like a matter of the formulation, what you used, which one, the organic or inorganic one. We even mixed them. So the first thing they told me when I ordered like the first sample of raw materials, I ordered both of them, and they said never ever mix them.
That's a silly thing to say.
First thing I did, I mixed them and it blew up, of course.
You've got a big red button in the office that says "Do not push."
Yeah. So I mixed them, it blew up, and I was like, fuck, they were right.
Oh, it really did blow up?
Yes, sure.
Oh, well, that's
So
fair
now they
enough.
have to be kept at opposite ends of the factory.
Yeah. No, I mixed them later.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't give up that. So
Just
quick.
one explosion's not going to
So
stop
I
me.
said, okay, I didn't get hurt, let's try again. So, yeah.
Okay, and
Just go for consistency with chemistry.
mix
That's
them.
always
this
important.
This is like HD.
Oh, okay.
This is why it's a hybrid coat, and it's even more hybrid than that because I also incorporated different kinds of resins into the coatings. Like, for example, I don't know, methyl methacrylate, ethyl acrylate copolymers, because it has a little bit of a thermoplastic component then into it. If you take HD and you have like minor scratches, so like bug splatter or something like that, and you still see the marks, if you heat it up,
Then
it glows.
Yeah.
Because of
Plasticity.
thermoplastic. Yeah.
Which is that the standard sort of thing for all of these self-healing coatings?
Yeah, but
the ones that only
Yeah.
does it for a year or
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And it just loses its elasticities.
Yeah, at some point, if you scratch it again and again at the same spot, it's just gone.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, tell us about the latest Nanolex development, because it came out last year. Was it earlier this year?
Oh, I think we launched it right here, right now. Nobody was able to buy it. The Terabyte. Yeah.
I've seen it's because I've seen press releases. That's why I feel. That
Yeah, I
it's been
think
out
maybe
for a
it was just marketing, but
Yeah.
it's available now, so
Gotcha,
people
so-
can order it and buy it. And the idea behind it was a lot of people were bugging me to use nanoparticles,
right.
because this is what a lot of companies do without giving out names and so on. They have like a matrix where they have some resins, but it's not necessarily ceramic resins. And then they take like nanoscale glass beads.
Mm-hmm.
This is SiO2.
Yep.
This is why they say it's a SiO2 coating, because they put some glass bits into it. And the resins they use, they're just fixating the glass, because the glass bits will just fly away. They don't stick to the car. So you need something to
To give an analogy, this is like PVA glue, and then seashells on top of it for your school project.
Just the other way around.
Yeah.
So, and I never wanted to work with nanoparticles because you inhale them, you these and that. And I was okay. My stuff is blowing up. It's bad enough. I don't.
Probably picking glass out of my
Yeah.
forehead every morning.
Exactly.
You don't want to have to peel out your lungs too.
But at some point, I was thinking about okay, if you incorporate the glass beads, you can have like scratch filling capabilities because they go on the scratches, and Then I thought about okay, another advantage is layer thickness. It's a bit more thick, so you have like a nicer color deepening effect and so on.
So
The
we've
other
got
one-
filling, and we've basically less preparation potentially required.
Yeah. And it's more scratch resistant, or harder.
Harder.
Yeah. We do like abrasion tests, how many cycles you do, and you measure the contact angle and you do it again, and with thousands of cycles until the contact angle drops. So it was nice. But glass, as it is, it's not very, very hydrophobic. So you also have the glass bits coming out on top of your. So
Resin,
then you're losing hydrophobicity. I didn't like that. So what I did, I also coated the glass beads with a very special coating. So it's like Inception. It's a coating in a coating in a coating in a
You've
coating.
used Pilkington glass, haven't you?
How do you? So you've described this in a way that we can all understand.
Yeah.
But when you're actually looking at this, how do you know that this stuff's happening? Do you have a really big microscope or something? How do you know that the beads are sticking above the resin and therefore that's what's reducing your hydrophobicity? I mean, do you have a communication system with it? How does it work?
This is this is very old technology.
But it's very small, isn't it?
Yes, but it used also in like lacquers, in paints, high solid paints. It's the same principle, just that the glass bits are bigger.
Yeah. Okay. But you can,
You know,
can you physically see this with a microscope?
no.
So this is all kind of
you
in theory.
can, but you need like an electron raster microscope. So
We're trying to get one of those.
Yeah. You don't see
No
it with the
one's done
regular one. You won't see it.
Yeah. We bought a regular microscope.
No.
We
Into
tried,
his
we tried
penis.
plugging it in. It's not the same as to be an electron.
I took a couple of pictures. I actually looked at it. I went to university where I told you I worked before.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with those people because I always been nice to them, and they let me use them. You know, the tools and microscopes and whatever
that'd be
they
some
have.
cool
yeah.
images for the magazine to see,
Yeah.
different ceramic coatings under the
provide you
microscope.
some. Yeah.
See, Bert went to the agricultural college. Best we can do is get a second-hand tractor. It's not quite as useful.
Okay.
Oh, I do like my tractors.
Here.
The funny thing is that you also have like a scale next to the pictures when you use the microscope,
Yeah.
so you see the thickness or the sizes
compare
and
that to a
everything.
human
Yeah,
hair,
that's very funny. Yeah,
Yeah, no.
it's interesting.
Well, I think our microscope it's the objective lens and the other lens equates to about times 300. I could see my
They would
penis,
do up
but
to
that was about
40,000.
it. Oh,
something.
40,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's quite respectable. We can see sponge things. I have just actually thought of one more question that I've always meant to ask a chemist about this.
This
And
spot he's got here.
It's Does this feel like healing up?
Is it herpes or is it not? Because we've heard a lot.
His herpes, it's all the same. Okay, because we mentioned Pilkington glass there,
Yeah,
and from what I understand, that is such a long-lasting coating because of the method they use to apply it, which involves using heat and I think some sort of steam. So that's part of a catalyzing process to actually get the bond correct.
yeah.
Is there any scope in future for this to transfer over to paint? Are we going to see people applying ceramic coatings with a steamer? Would there be any benefit?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No.
No, I mean, they try
That's
to
a shame.
save energy with every possible mean now.
I've just got a great image of pouring a bottle of ceramic coating into the holding tank of the cast and just spraying it on.
I mean, you can spray ceramic coatings.
But not through a steamer.
Not
Yeah,
for a steamer, but
heat it
with
and
one of the
spray it.
SATA.
The Celtic, airbrushes.
It works perfectly. I mean, they do it with rims all the time when you have complicated geometry and don't want to
Yeah.
poke
In different places.
the rim 1 million times. You just spray it, and
Yeah, it does make sense.
you just lose a little bit of material, more consumption.
Yeah. But I mean, because I think the problem with heat, of course, I mean, I had a car once that was about 300 degrees, but it was on fire. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't good for the car.
No, it was a Chrysler 300C. That
Oh,
was
you
a
can tell
car
we've been here a while. That was a brilliant car joke. And speaking of car jokes, I think it is time, do you not, to hit... well, actually, no, we haven't actually talked about your new product. I mean, we've mentioned that it's there, but what's special about it? But it's got all the beads in, and that was the element to it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what in brief, what are the advantages to somebody who's thinking, right, I want to buy a new product, I want to check out this new Nanolex product. What's it going to give
Number
me?
one, it's extremely easy to apply. The easiest of them all.
And
Sold.
so you don't have
That's
to
all I need.
Yeah,
Easy to
right.
apply.
It's extremely easy
so,
to apply.
and you don't have to be a professional.
No, it's for
Even
everybody.
better.
For everybody, yeah.
Cool. Even
Yeah.
children.
Yeah, even cats, dogs, whatever. Yeah.
Speaking my language.
A trained monkey can apply it. Really, literally. It's very easy to apply.
Okay, well, we could put that
Yeah.
to the test.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
get called that by most people.
So,
Okay.
another advantage is it fills up some scratches. So you don't have to be that precise and good with your polishing. Number three is it's more scratch resistant and harder, so it will stay there for longer. Even if you go automatic hair wash and so on, it will look nasty, but it won't come off that fast. And the third thing is maybe the higher hydrophobicity through and through because of these coated fillers inside.
So is there any point in using SI3D and HD and anything now, or just use a new product?
Yeah.
In terms of filling ability, what sort of levels are we talking about? Like micro marring, fine scratches, a trolley down the side of the car. What's that
The
going to
first
fill?
two, yeah.
The first two, so
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
trolley.
No.
Okay, so
no,
I mean that
No.
is it.
But
is it
true
stage
story.
where- Go on.
When I first developed SI3D and we had a customer, he was like off topic with this. And
Yeah.
he was just, "Oh, yeah, I heard about ceramic coatings are hard and this and that. I want it on my car. put it on his car, and 2 hours later came back totally mad, yelling, screaming. He hit a pole with his car and had a dent in his car, and he was shocked why it's still happening.
What was the Pole's name?
Ivan.
Oy.
You had to make a funny story racist, didn't you?
Not racist, xenophobic. It's different.
Yeah.
My bad. Well, before we go too far down that rabbit hole,
Misconceptions.
let's hit you with some questions.
Okay.
Now, what is your current? So, just to put some gravitas in here, we're Andreas is not actually a detailing geek, and he's not actually a car geek. He's just a normal guy. Well, normal-ish, normal with a doctorate in genetic engineering and all sorts of exciting things. What's your current car?
Scott Octavia.
Because you didn't know when I was asking you earlier. You were like, I don't know. It's a car. It's a thing. It's a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's driving.
So it's a Skoda Octavia, but you don't love it. I mean, if it was a choice between damaging the Skoda and damaging yourself, you wouldn't lay
I
down
will
your.
burn the Skoda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, whereas for me, it's the other way around. If my Supra was
burn
getting
it down.
damaged, I would risk life to save it.
You'll probably burn anyway.
Yeah,
It's
true,
not mine anyways. It's a company car. I don't own
Okay.
a car. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this question's probably academic. What's your dream car? You've got all the money in the world.
A Dodge Viper.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Just
good.
because of Al Bundy. You know?
Yeah.
The Viper man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't fit many dogs in those, though.
It doesn't matter.
You
If I
get
can't
tra- you
afford
get
a car, I
trailer
get a
behind.
trailer, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, because you said you had a big dog. What
Yes.
breed out of it?
Kangal. A Turkish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that like a mountain dog or a?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So here again is a question that might not apply. First car you ever have you ever detailed a car in your life?
No.
No. Okay. So
Never have, never will.
when it says here first car to be detailed, we're just going to leave that as TBC.
Yeah.
So when you are detailing, okay. So actually, this is an interesting question. Normally we ask people.
Actually, people think I'm a very good detailer because if I have to, I know how to and I can. I just don't do it. I do trainings all over the world. I show people how to use the products and so on. If I would want to, I could detail a car pretty decent.
But it's like
I even won one with friends like polishing contests. And I didn't know how to turn on the polishing machine. But once they did it for me, I'm a fucking maniac.
it's like technically you could edit someone's genetic code. You just don't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's probably
said that,
safer
yeah.
for the world as a
Yeah,
whole.
I think so too.
Just not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's no point now. The vaccines have. So in your whole buckets thing, well, you know how detailers get excited about their buckets.
Sure.
Are you a believer in using multiple buckets? What's your?
Of course.
You
I
are.
want to sell some, yeah.
So
No,
you're pro
no,
bucket.
Yeah, two. Yeah,
Yeah, two
It's more
buckets.
than enough. Yeah.
And again, this question is going to be interesting. So actually, it's probably relevant to you from the point of view of developing compounds. We ask people whether they like to use a rotary machine or a DA machine. From your opinion, what is the most efficient method of machine polishing a car?
I'm a rotary man.
You're a rotary man.
Yeah.
Is that an age thing, or is that because you've actually thought about the science of it and you think?
It's the first one I had in my hand.
Okay.
With a wool pad, with a UFO.
Yeah.
Billy Martinez, hi to him.
yeah.
He taught me how to polish, yeah.
Oh, God.
Can I just say, holy crap! I've just looked up what a Kangal dog looks like.
Yeah.
Jesus,
It's a big.
Yes.
It's a big. In fairness, though, that's a small man.
that would eat me.
Yeah?
Yeah, but
Is
my
that the
staffy
point?
tries to eat you.
It's a massive dog. Indeed.
So I actually use not long ago, pre-COVID, so quite a long time
Yeah.
ago. Nanolex brought out a wax,
Yeah.
and I've got that wax, and
Yeah.
I've used that wax, and I quite like it. It's called One, isn't it, or something like that?
I think it's called hybrid wax.
Hybrid wax.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nano 1 was before.
that was before.
Yeah.
So my question to you is: do you prefer a coating or a wax? Given that you have made both.
Do I have to pick one of them?
Yes, you do. It's the law.
I picked the coating.
You pick the coating. That is not a huge surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, again, more car-based questions that we might struggle with here. Ferrari or Porsche?
Ferrari.
That's interesting. And you're a German man saying that Ferrari
No,
is...
I'm from Romania.
You're from Romania. Okay,
Yes.
that's a good outlook. To be fair, Ferraris are better.
If you
terms
say
of
so.
visuals. Well,
You're
also,
saying that very quietly, being in Frankfurt.
well, I'm saying that quietly, but also you explain that Ferraris are all going to die with rust within 30 seconds, and they're very litigious. So I'm trying to make up for that, so that we don't end
They're
up.
not going to. They're not going to go to rust. They're mostly GRP now. They're just going to. The resin's going to fail.
Okay, that's not making it better.
Cool.
Okay, more important question.
Yeah.
Fine, but you're the one who's going to suffer in prison. You're the pretty boy. relatively speaking.
About to say out of the two.
Much more important question now. Hang on, I need to infer. Let me just brush up my beer a little bit. This is a serious question, life and death, really. Subaru or Mitsubishi?
What's that?
They're types of cars.
Really?
Yes, they are.
Where they come from?
One is very good. Well, from Japan, the land of the rising sun.
Then I take the second one, Mitsubishi. I had one. Mitsubishi was my first car ever.
We have a winner.
Ian, can you take
I
it?
know I liked him.
He's dead to me now. Subaru is the right answer, by the way. I'll happily educate you because obviously,
Okay.
this, you know,
No,
you've
no,
got
no,
an
no,
inquisitive
no, no,
mind.
no.
You have an inquisitive mind, and you know.
Yeah, but we'd like to leave some of it in one piece, so let's move away from Subaru.
Flex or repairs?
Flex.
Interesting. So, and again, this one's going to be easy. So you have a Sunday afternoon to yourself or a Sunday morning to yourself.
Yes.
There's no family to worry about. There's no administration. There's no work. There's none of that, any BS. And you have a motor car in front of you. Let's make it a nice motor car. So not, not a Mitzi Colt. Let's make it a Subaru Impreza Type RAR.
Okay.
And your options are A, do you want to clean it? Or B, do you want to go for a drive through lovely mountain roads around Saarbrücken?
Mm-hmm.
Which one?
I'd rather have some coffee.
So
But if I have to do something with the car, I take it for a ride. I don't clean it.
Yeah, there we go.
You're going to take the dog for a walk
Yeah,
instead.
for example.
Yeah, anything to avoid a Subaru.
Just shake your head disdainfully at both of them and walk away.
It's the shame. Well, Andreas, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Same for me. Thanks for having me here.
Well, you're welcome back anytime. And if you're in England, come over and we'll shove a microphone in
I'd
your
love
face
to.
all over again. And a camera if you're lucky.
Okay.
We have really enjoyed it. And it's something, we really appreciate what you've done with the magazine and helping us on the technical side. And I'm sure we'll be sending
My
you
pleasure.
normally emails. What we normally do is email you at sort of 9 o'clock at night and say, oh, crap, we really need this. Could you give it to us by 9:05?
I think it's doable. Yeah.
It's how we roll, lastminute.com.
No problem.
But we really appreciate that. And so it's goodbye from me.
Yep, goodbye from me.
Goodbye, everybody. Take care.